So when Hot Ones, like, what was your main gig before Hot Ones like blew up?
So I was working at Complex, just packaging interviews, but just in more of a classic sense, no wings involved. But I was working with First We Feast, and then the editor-in-chief of First We Feast, creator of Hot Ones, Chris Schoenberger. In 2014, everybody in our industry was doing that pivot to video thing. So we had to come up with a video product, and we were small. We were just like a little brand, a little owned and operated in the larger context of a big hulking publisher. So there was nobody that really cared about what we were doing or was thinking about what we were doing. We were just in a corner, basically, in a lab without much supervision, which I always think, looking back now, was so valuable to us. But what we saw was, being in the office, just as I'm sure it's the same way here, is you'll see people walking the halls. You'll see celebrities walking the halls. So we knew that we had some proximity to celebrity, so maybe a celebrity interview show would be viable. That was, I thought, a needle that we could thread.
Because they're just coming through Complex in general for whatever show, whatever else they got going.
I'm like, the face-to-face access already exists. It's just about having some sort of vehicle for it. So we thought a celebrity interview show could be viable, but then we were like, celebrity interview shows are so boring. How do we make them not boring?
Right.
So we were just trying to solve for that. And then he said, well, what do you think of an interview show where we interview celebrities but have them eat increasingly spicy chicken wings over the course of the interview?
He just had that right off the bat.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there's a first iteration where we're trying like...
No, and then the way, when he said that, it just was like a Cupid's arrow into my brain. I was like,
isn't it funny how one idea like that, for me with the podcast, it wasn't as creative, but it was more like a logistical thing. My brother, who's my producer, this is 2012, so a long time ago, when Google Voice first was like becoming a thing, he was like, because we didn't have a radio station where we could take calls, but he was like, we can set up this answering machine, and people can just call in and leave a voicemail as their question, and you can play, and I was like, that's all I needed. After that, I was like, now I have a format here. That's my hook. It's going to be, a call-in show, but, not live. And I never looked back. But I was, like, so resistant until I had that one thing where I really wanted to do it. Because if you go in to something like, all right, we can kind of do this, like, it's got to be. The Cupid's arrow is a good way to put it, where it's like, you fall in love with that idea, and you're like, I'm going to make this shit work. Yeah. That's crazy, though, that the hot wings thing, I would have thought maybe it starts out like, what if they, it's a hot dog eating contest. How much can they eat? And it's like, oh, but then they can't talk while they're doing it, so we can't do that. So let's try a chugging, whatever it is, and you landed on that. But from Jump Street, you just knew hot wings.
Yeah, well,
crazy.
It sounded revolutionary the second that he said it. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, let's get in a room and bang out this pilot and try to shoot it as fast as we can. And then 6.5 years later, 15 seasons, a couple hundred episodes, here we are.
And I mean, at the time, you're probably not thinking like, and then we'll sell the hot sauces, and we'll have,
No, even that was a mistake. Even that was by accident.
What do you mean?
Well, at first, we thought, if you do something on the internet, you can see that there are views. There are people watching it. You can see their comments, people interacting with you online. But it's all in the ether,
Yeah.
So we thought to have an audience that's truly bonded with the show, and we had such a cult audience, we need to give them something physical that they can touch. So we were like, how do they physically connect with the show? So to us, it just started as like a promo item. We'll make 500 bottles of hot sauce, and fans will probably want to put it on their shelf or try it along. We never thought about the way that people do Hot Ones parties where they get all the sauces. All of these are unintended consequences of the show.
That's how you know it's real too, though. Is like, because you can do like SEO and optimization. And
I don't know any of that
algorithms that get people.
I've never looked at a Google Analytics sheet in my life.
You're the talent. You are the star. Of course, you shouldn't look at that stuff. That's for the peasants.
All gut. But we made 500 bottles, and then we put them out, thinking we'd sell a couple hundred of them, and then we'd have little party favorite things and stuff to hand out to people and guests and stuff. And then they sold out like Adele tickets. Like it was like, like that.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa. And then because we'd worked with so many craft sauce makers and pepper growers and all these people, and the show was starting to balloon up a little bit, we're like, well, we should leverage this to work with the best makers and then, have these sauces that we put together as a real vision of the show. And that's how the whole hot sauce thing started.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like you're technically, you're a condiment salesman at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
it's bizarre how.
but again, that is really how you
things
know,
branch
because
out.
like I was saying, you can have smoke and mirrors where it's like, okay, your video gets a lot of views, sure, your website gets a lot of traffic, but when we put on a Barstool T-shirt on sale that sells out, or we put out tickets, or you have to physically go somewhere to see these people and they do it, like that's how you know. So hot sauce flying off the shelves when you didn't even expect it is like, that's how you know there's like a rabid fan base for this.
And that's kind of unique too to what you guys do here, like your media. Like I don't think anybody would buy, like I don't think a kid would buy like a GQ T-shirt and wear it.
Yeah, yes,
know?
yeah. There's definitely, we're a little counterculture, a little bit like renegade. That like wearing, it was like almost like having a tattoo or something. Like it's almost like a Fight Club sort of thing. Like you wear our, the stool and stars, and it was kind of like you're in this little club. And then we got to a point where like I got linked in with guys who can like just design clothing, So all of a sudden I'm like, we're talking about our fall drop for like hoodies and joggers, just like regular
spring
fucking
season
clothes.
21.
Yeah, and I'm like, I am now a clothing designer or what? I don't even know what is happening. But there's, I think the main thing we learned was like, once you have a fan base who buys into you for one thing, they'll buy into it for a million reasons. It's like I started following you for like your sports takes, but I'll follow you to the end of the earth for whatever else you're doing.
Yeah, and that's important too for audiences, because in entertainment or whatever, whatever people are into and whatever they invest in, whether it's their time or their actual money, those are the things that continue to be there and grow, and then those who don't just kind of go away.
Yeah,
so,
right. It's just like, see you later. It's the test of time. So when Hot Ones starts like popping, was there an episode or a moment or were you like, I know this is like mega now?
So I knew pretty early on that we had a shot, because I think one of the earliest episodes that we ever did was with Machine Gun Kelly. It might have been our second ever shoot. And he was just pacing around the studio and swearing and spitting and doing all this stuff.
And this is pre, his new iteration of himself.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. Yeah. And the way that I saw how real everything was, like how chaotic and how real it all was, I thought to myself, we have something special here.
Yeah.
This is a thing that might work. And then, but it wasn't popular at all. We used to joke about it. I used to say all the time to Chris, I used to be like, I'm eating a lot of really spicy chicken wings and nobody gives a shit, dude.
We do like, we call it lowering the bar here, where we have to eat like gross shit. Or
I think,
do these challenges
do you guys do a hot sauce one?
Yeah, we did it with The Last Dab. Yeah, we just did it like a couple weeks ago. I forgot how hot The Last Dab was, because we got the promotional shit you're talking about. It's somewhere on our shelves.
I think I brought, last time I did, I brought some
you brought all
bottles
through, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like some of them were just tasty and weren't like setting my mouth on fire. And I must have thought that The Last Dab was one of those. So I rolled up there. I was like, I'm good. I can do this one. I mean, I've done this. I've had this before. I put it on my meals. And then I was like, oh, nope, never mind. This is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. So, but that's more almost like Jackass.
Yeah.
Hot Ones kind of, because sometimes we're
dorm room
painful shit and gross shit and all this stuff. But the host, he does it along with us every time. So we're drinking some gross liquor from China that's like disgusting, and he's done like 8 or 9 shots of it because he's doing it along with you, shit face. I mean, yeah,
he's in my world,
Yeah, I mean, you guys,
Me,
really
Adam
lay it on the
Richmond, and
line.
him, yeah. But then the first episode that broke containment and was big and had lots of views and was on the front page of Reddit and trending on YouTube and stuff was the Key and Peele episode.
Okay.
And then what was encouraging was when that episode went nuts, all the other episodes went up. So
like,
I was like, oh, this is a cult. Or if people discover the show,
they stick around.
They'll stick around. They'll watch more. So
and you think
that's when
I
thought,
do you know any?
Maybe this could go someplace.